A minor tweak in your sales management and your ramp up process could be the difference between a 100K a month sales team and a 500K a month sales team. So a business owner that we placed sales reps for had a higher than normal churn rate, and it was driving me crazy. We vet the reps and we place the reps inside of his business. So I wanted to get to the bottom of it. So I invited him to a coffee shop. And for context, he has a sales team, he has 2 closers, 2 setters, he does 150K a month, and he's a very established dating coach. He's not the best sales manager on the planet, but he's a phenomenal marketer. I knew the reps were good, but he was firing them. So I was trying to understand the difference here. So I asked him, what is going on from the moment that you hired the reps from us to actually getting them ramped up? Within minutes, I knew this was gonna 5X the business. Here's what he was doing wrong. He started showing me his onboarding process and he was really happy about it. And to be frank, it was really good. It was a bunch of written SOPs on how to get onto the Zoom call, how to present yourself on the Zoom call, how to have good camera quality, what camera to buy. It was every single closed deal and not closed deal that have ever been recorded in the entire history of the company. And a couple other helpful things. And I said, that's awesome. Like these are the, videos and the different things that they watch when they come on board. But like once I start taking calls, like, what do you do with them? He's like, what do you mean? Like this is my onboarding. And I was like, correct, but the onboarding process, like the ramp up process, like what are you doing for that? He's like, no, I have these videos. Like I have the docs, they're all laid out. And I knew immediately that was the problem because like we've officially checked off this box. We've interviewed them, we've hired them. We do have the onboarding, but the problem was here. He did half of the process. He didn't do the other half of the process. And that's where these reps just couldn't make it click. So I said, what's going on with your sales team? Like, how's your sales team doing? And he's like, we have one guy that absolutely crushes. We have 2 that are like, they're okay. They're barely getting by. I've considered firing them, but I'm kind of just letting them hold on for now. And then everyone else gets fired immediately. Like they can't even make it past a couple days. And I said, well, why are you firing them? And he said, okay. So I basically have this cool thing set up on our calendar to where they only get 10 calls booked. If they don't have a deal closed by the time 10 calls are booked, we just fire them. And I said, okay, that's a little cutthroat, but I get it. And like, to be honest, most business owners go through something like this. And this is what had happened with him. You start off super lenient and you're like, hey, whatever, take your time to get better. And then you're like, man, we're missing out on like a lot of revenue. Maybe get a little bit more stricter. And then it doesn't make a difference and you get pissed off and you're like, fuck it, we're firing people after 10 calls, that's it. And then you overcorrect and go overly extreme. We see business owners do this all the time when it comes to show rate. They don't email or message anyone anything after they book a call and then no one shows up. And they're like, okay, let's email them once and we'll text them once. And then maybe we'll give them a call once. I'm like, oh, that didn't help. All right, fuck it. We're going to email them, text them, call them 100 times before the call. And I don't know why these leads are putting us on D&D and blocking our numbers and not showing up the calls. And it's like, it's you overcorrected, right? So he had the exact same example. And I was like, dude, the way that your onboarding and ramp up is structured is basically only if they've sold dating in the past or they've previously been a dating coach or they just really have the knack for your offer. You have to recruit an absolutely phenomenal amount of talent and the right talent and be so strict in your interview process for anyone to get through. And I would assume you're not doing that. Like basically any applicants we sent over, he's like, perfect, let's bring him on. Like he was so lenient in that process because he knew he was just going to give him calls and fire him anyway. And the problem with that is more times than not, when you have prospects hopping on the phone with people, it's their first couple calls they've ever taken and then they get fired. So you're spending so many calls per month on people who don't know what they're doing because they're brand new. And every time 10 calls happens, they don't close a deal. Then we have another new person and then another new person, another new person. And that's what happens when you have a really high churn rate is you have a bunch of newbies that are always on calls. And it's more expensive to fire people nonstop than it is to just fix your fucking ramp up process. So here's what I told him to do in our little coffee shop date. When you hire someone, they start on Monday. They have a week of onboarding before they even think of getting on a sales call to close a prospect, okay? The first 3 days are everything you're doing now. All the videos, all the written SOPs, all that stuff is great and cool. Have them also hop on your sales team meetings. I would probably recommend you only have 5 of your best sales calls ever and just have them listen to those. If you put every single sales call ever that has ever been taken, they're not gonna watch all of those. Then on Thursday and Friday, have them shadow your best closer. Change their name in Zoom to note taker, camera off, mic off, do not speak during the calls, and have them just shadow your closer on every single sales call for that Thursday and that Friday. After the call, they can ask the closer a couple questions on why they did what they did, and the closer can give them feedback on why they did what they did. They're gonna get so much pattern recognition and understanding of live questions and objections that are happening and deals still getting closed. Then come Monday and Tuesday of that next week, that's when they start taking calls, a week after they've been on the sales team. Monday and Tuesday, put their calendar at half capacity. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, full capacity. Let them rip, okay? For the next 2 weeks of them being on the team, from the day that they start taking calls, daily one-on-one, 45 minutes to an hour. And what you need to do in these one-on-ones at the end of every single day is 9 times out of 10 call review. And you're gonna be finding missing pieces in their call, and they probably have questions. If they're a half decent sales rep, they should know what they're doing wrong, right? But you really know what they're doing wrong because you know how the offer gets sold. Do a call review and tweak stuff. And once you see a large problem and you see it doesn't get fixed by the next day, then just spend that hour giving a training on that specific thing, and then do role plays on that specific thing until it gets fixed. And you just do this call review, training, role play, call review, training, role play, call review, training, role play, and you beat it into their skull until it makes sense. And by the end of a 30-day window of time, they're not at 50% of KPI, as in a typical closer should close 20 deals per month. Month 1, they shouldn't because they don't know what they're doing. They're brand new to the company. So they should close 10. And if they don't close 10, then you fire them. That's that sweet spot between, oh, let's let them do whatever they want and let's give them plenty of time, to I'm firing everyone within 10 calls, right? That's that sweet spot to where you're not burning money on the wrong closers, but you're giving closers enough time to develop and enough coaching and leadership for them to develop enough to do good enough on the actual team. Most people do a great job at interviewing and hiring people, and they might even put some stuff in the onboarding. But what's underlooked is just poor sales management, and to be frank, lazy sales management, because it's very redundant in doing constant one-on-one call reviews, giving end-of-day feedback, having interactive, engaging, exciting sales team meetings with the whole sales team, and building a culture to where decency does not exist. It's only been a couple weeks. He's implemented this with a couple of his closers, and he's seen a night and day difference with those iffy closers that he was considering firing. Now they're back in action. They're closing almost as good as the number 1 rep on that team. And this just goes to show a minor tweak in your sales management and your ramp up process could be the difference between a 100K a month sales team and a 500K a month sales team. I hope this video helps. If you're a business owner and you have a sales team and you're looking to either get more sales reps from us or get hands-on help like you've got in this video, then click the link below, book in a call at hiresalesrep.io, and I will speak with you.